Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'm your host, Bobby. We've got Rob, we've got Dave, we've got Brianna. How you doing?
So good.
Doing good, Bobby. How are you?
I'm doing good.
Doing good. How about you guys?
Can't
No
complain.
complaints over here. Oh,
So this is episode 41, and I wanted to get everybody in here. I'm gonna do this probably from now on, start it out to where we do the introduction after we talk, so that way you guys can all see the video. So with that being said, episode 41 starts now.
Yeah! Area 51 podcast. Jeremy Clements is going to win at Daytona. You're going to believe this? Oh my God.
So here comes the young lady out of Lincoln, California, the 67 Kylie Glick. Here goes Kylie Glick.
In the business of my dream, I don't think that they're ready. Let's go. This Cap Houston right here. Bobby, what you got for me?
All right. That is our new intro. We aired it last week. Brianna, what do you think of that?
I like it. That's hype. Yeah.
Got the old Cap Houston. We got to give him a shout out.
Yeah. Yeah.
My only beef is it's the only picture I ever have with a Coca-Cola in my hand because I was at a flea market and if you see a glass Coca-Cola container, you're gonna buy one. But at no point in time will you see me walk around with anything but a Mountain Dew.
Now, what I was gonna do is I was gonna throw back the old Brianna and Cap Houston throwback they did at Trackhouse, but I figured she'd have been like, no.
No, it's okay. Me and him always have lots of fun when we got to make all our TikToks together.
So, Brianna, I don't know how to go about asking all these things about you.
Oh boy.
So tell us about yourself. Tell us how you got involved in NASCAR, in everything that you do with the sport.
Yeah. So I'm Brianna O'Leary, and I came into the sport in 2016. I came through NASCAR's Drive for Diversity program when they were kind of looking for former college athletes to turn pit crew member. So at the time, I was at Alcorn State. I had played softball there. I was the strength and conditioning graduate assistant, and my coach was like, "Hey, you should go to this NASCAR tryout." He was like, "I don't really know what it is, but he said it'll take us places." So didn't have a clue, but I was like, I don't know what I want to do next in life. I might as well give it a try. And so, yeah, 8 years later, here I am changing tires in the Truck and Xfinity series. And I'm also the strength and conditioning coach for our drivers over at Rev Racing. So that's my racing life in a nutshell.
So Rev Racing is the team that is the Drive for Diversity that runs that program and gets drivers their start and crew members and start in the sport, correct?
Yeah, so that's actually where I started, practicing as a pit crew member. So it's kind of like a full circle thing to now be a coach there.
That's pretty cool. So I think, is it Phil Horton is the head of the program there?
Yeah.
Yeah, so a lot of guys that have been on our show previously have gone through that. Tig Willard, Jarek Newsom,
Yep.
and the other one was Cap. I think Cap Houston actually too, if I remember correctly. But Cap was a long time ago.
Yeah, he's been around
an OG,
a while.
The OG. He was probably in the first class or something.
Yeah, funny story with Jarek though. We actually went to Alcorn State together, and his cousin was one of my teammates and one of my best friends. So in college, me and Jarek spent a lot of time together. And just randomly one day he texted me and he was like, "Hey, do you like your job?" And that next week we happened to be going back to Alcorn for that combine. And I was like, "Hey, we'll be there. Come try out." And so, yeah.
Oh, that's cool. I did not know that. I didn't, when we talked to him, he talked about his college, going to college and stuff, but I couldn't remember what university he went to. But yeah, that's pretty small world, pretty cool story
Yeah.
in and of itself.
Yeah, for sure.
So with playing college sports as a collegiate athlete, and then obviously strength and conditioning, how do you apply that to being a tire changer or a pit crew member?
Gosh, I think it all just translates like almost seamlessly as far as the like ability to perform under pressure, and then just like the discipline to work out and stay in shape, because season is so long. Like if you're not doing something, like your body is just not gonna make it. Like, between all the travel and then the wear and tear on your body throughout the week and stuff, like just having the discipline and maybe like the know abouts to know that that's so important. And then of course, like I said, the performing under pressure, like I think those things just translated so perfectly into being a pit crew member.
So like the being part of a team and teamwork and all that, and
Oh yeah. Yeah. Yeah,
obviously
obviously that's a huge part.
that is a huge part as well. Yeah.
Yeah.
What
Bye, Dave.
challenges do you face as a female pit crew member in a male dominant profession?
I would say like the biggest part, maybe getting started, was like being taken seriously. And even now, 8 years in, being taken seriously. And just, I mean, there's literally been crew chiefs who are like me pitting for them was like the worst part of their entire weekend. And then there's been crew chiefs who have like specifically said like, no, we don't want women. That's probably the biggest challenge, but at the end of the day, I'm lucky to end up pitting for teams that do respect me and do love having me for their teams or on their team.
So what is it? What is an advantage of being a female that you may have bring to the sport?
I don't know, like maybe actually like performance wise and stuff, like, or like being in the sport. I'm given any advantages by being a woman. I will just say like maybe the coolest part of being a female in this sport is just like at the track, having people approach me and just like high-fiving me, telling me, hey, keep it up, hey, can I take a picture with you? Like I get to go home now and I get to show my granddaughter, like, hey, look at this girl, you could do whatever you want to. And just that is probably obviously not like an advantage as far as being in the sport, but that's like my favorite part of being in the sport, for
So
sure.
being a role model for other, females, girls that are want to maybe in the future that want to become part of the sport, you could be a role model for them. What would you suggest or say to them if they were interested in getting into any form of NASCAR, be it a driver or pit crew member, mechanic, something in the NASCAR realm?
Yeah, I just think for me, it's just like so cliche, but it's just like so true to just be like, hey, like you got to put your head down and you've got to work hard. And obviously you're gonna have people who support you and people who tell you like you don't belong here, what are you doing here? And you just got to put your head down. And at the end of the day, if you are working hard and you're good at your job, right, they can't take that away from you. And if you're a hard worker and you're good at your job, there is a job for you somewhere. So I think that's the biggest takeaway, no matter how cliche it is just work hard.
Do you ever worry, and I don't, this is kind of a tricky question here.
Oh
So
boy.
do you ever worry about getting burned or pinching your finger or breaking a nail or anything like that being in the sport?
I don't like worry about it, but then when it happens, I'm like, oh. I don't break nails often, thankfully, but I did just get some gnarly burns in Bristol. Our tire, the right front tire, would not drop and would not come out. So I'm like holding this hot tire because we just did 110 laps because we didn't pit the first stage. And it just would not drop. So I'm like holding this tire probably for like 15 seconds. And at the time you can't feel it. And then after the race, I had like blisters here. And I was like, oh man. But thankfully that's nothing I think about during the pit stop.
So
Yeah.
I'm gonna actually circle back to something because I just thought of this. So, Rob, when you and I were at Pocono,
Mhm.
I believe it was Pocono,
Yeah, I was Pocono.
I ran into Brianna and I said, "Hey, will you come on the podcast?" She's like, "Check the messages or send me a message. I'll make sure I check them." Like 2 seconds later, this little girl come running around the corner and she's like, "Can I get my picture with you?" It melted my heart. Like, do you get excited over having little kids and all that come running at you?
Yeah, it doesn't happen often. So when it does, I'm like, this is just like the coolest thing because going into the sport, like obviously, like I was naive to like what I was going into, and I was naive to the fact that like me going into this role is just like going to be so much bigger than me. And so when I see that, I'm like, wow, like what a cool life I get to live. And like, hopefully, I do get to set a good example for those little girls, even little boys, all anybody.
Now, do you ever get involved with like that rock star persona? Like where you're like, this is just what I do for a living. And then all of a sudden, like, Bobby was saying, just some random fan comes up to you and says, can I take your picture? And like I said, you've been doing it for a couple of years. And I know, living here in the area, I do meet a lot of pit crew guys and some drivers and stuff like that, and they lose that sense of connection with the fans. Does that happen from time to time with you? Like, I'm here doing a job, but yes, I still can take a picture with you.
There's some days when after you have like a long day, it's so easy to be like, I have to go do this. And then I'm just like quick to remind myself, it's like, no, I get to go do this. Like, am I really like working? Like, I get to go travel on the weekends, change tires, play with race cars, and then spend my weekdays in the gym training kids and just like, so it's always like, I'm still in the part where I'm like, what a life. Like, how did I get here? It's just been really great, and I've been so grateful for all of it. And so if there's ever a moment where I'm like, oh, I have to go do this, I'm like, I could be working a 9 to 5 behind a desk. Like, I get to do this. And so that's like how I try to keep things into perspective.
That's awesome to hear. There's a lot of people that, once they're in it for a while, they lose that sense of, this is a job, but I'm also a public influence. It's always kind of baffled me. I know there is a difference between, public life and personal life, and, we were kind of talking to the truck driver for, what was it? Trek Out or Colleague.
Colleague, yeah. Magic Mike.
Yeah, Magic Mike. And he was like, yeah, we do see crazy fans just on the side of the road, that are cheering us on or booing us or whenever convoy. And I'm like, I get that. I am that guy that if you're my haulers or my driver's hauler, I'm going to lay on the horn and honk and, do all that crazy fan stuff.
Yeah, they've got to love it because, gosh, shout out to the hauler drivers. I think they're probably one of the hardest workers on the team.
Yeah, it's crazy the amount of hours that, when we were talking with Magic Mike, the amount of hours that he drives and the stuff that he does that, a lot of people don't realize because they don't see it behind the scenes. It's crazy.
No, yeah.
But one thing I was going to ask, you talking about Bristol, Eric Jones in the Cup race on a pit stop had a fire when they were fueling his car, and I don't know exactly how the fire started, but I'm assuming maybe gas got onto one of the brake rotors that was hot and started the fire or whatever. Have you ever been on a pit stop changing a tire where a fire had started? And then my other question is, does the teams that you work on, is there an actual like contingency plan for what happens if the fire starts? Or is there like a plan in place by NASCAR with their, I know they have the safety person with the fire extinguisher standing, behind the pit stalls and stuff. So I'm just curious how that all works, because I've seen it happen a couple times. Actually, I think it's both times was Eric Jones, to be honest, his team it happened to, but most recently at Bristol, when you mentioned that, I remember that happening. So just curious if it's happened to you.
It has happened. It was Daytona 500. Gosh, what was the last year of 5 lug for Cup?
I've been 20,
2 years
21?
ago.
22, yeah.
Yeah, 22.
So
No,
2021, right? This is a tricky question here.
Chase Elliott won in 20, so
2021.
yeah, it was 21 because
Yeah.
Road America, he won it with Road America in 21. So yeah, it was 21.
Yeah, so okay, so that Daytona 500, I was changing rears. For Colleague Racing, I think Kaz Gralla maybe was driving. But yeah, I think the plan that you've like come up with is with your firefighters. So like you plan ahead, you're like, hey, if there's a fire, like they always say, hey, I'm gonna try and stay out of your way, and I'm not gonna do anything until you tell me to, right? So they're not just coming over there willy-nilly spraying you and you're still trying to compete in this race. For us though, we had blew a tire and the carcass of the tire was back behind like the hub and everything, and we didn't know it. And so it was just going and going and it caught fire. So we changed tires. Well, we couldn't see anything because they had sprayed all the extinguisher. So we didn't know it was back there. So we changed tires and went back out, and then the fire just came right back. Something like that. If you watch the video, I just kind of stepped back and I'm like, that's a big fire. I'm probably gonna just stay back for now. And then some people I know, if you're in the middle of changing tires when the fire happens, they just keep going. But the fire was there when I got over there, and I was like, I might just wait and see what's gonna happen here.
Because I've noticed that on a couple of pit stops, especially at like the short tracks, just the buildup of rubber on the inside of the rims and the brake dust. And then I had another question for you, just because I've never been in the pits for a pit stop. Does the driver know when to turn on and off the brake fans for you guys? Because like, when I see you guys put the tire on, say like the left sides, you'll see like on the camera point, it's usually on the passenger side, you'll see the brake dust blow out right when the new tires go on, but it's not directly at you. You're already around to the right side before that happens.
Yeah, they're always telling like the drivers as they're coming in, obviously, like wheel straight, foot on the brake, and then somewhere like that, we like, hey, like don't forget your brake fans. Because one time they did forget the brake fans, and the crew chief was like, hey, you're blowing rubber all over, brake dust all over your changer, like don't forget that. So there's kind of just reminders based on who the driver is, who the crew chief is, and what reminders they ask for. But typically they'll remind them of all the things they need to do in a pit stop, and hopefully they listen.
Can I share some videos that Cap Houston had on his Facebook?
Yeah.
Okay. I just wanted to make sure. It's the one that's the story about you.
Okay.
Okay. I just wanted to make sure.
No, yeah, you're fine.
I'm Brianna O'Leary, a tire changer here from Amarillo, Texas. This is my 6th season changing tires. My first one at Trackhouse. I got into racing through NASCAR's Drive for Diversity program. I was a softball college athlete at the time. Every day I still wake up and I'm like, what a life. Like, I change tires for a living. I'm still stuck on that fact more than being one of few females, I think.
So there's that one, and then I have to share this.
Getty, trying to put that man, we ain't playing skellies. Guess they thought I was gonna stop a papoose on the celly. Thought the car was gonna drop a hip hop from Canary. Man, I might mess around and do a feature with Nelly. I'm number one. I got 99 problems.
I freaking love that.
Yeah, I was in the back being hyped.
Do what?
I was in the back being hyped for him.
No, I've seen a couple of them like that.
So
Like,
funny.
great. You guys had such a good time when you were at Trackhouse.
Oh yeah, man. Just the ideas and like everything we had there was just so fun for us to take advantage of and use. And yeah.
Now, I did hear there was I forget what podcast I was watching, but they were talking about putting the pit crew members in a draft. And I think it came out yesterday. And they were like, yeah, we just need to redraft, all the pit crew members, and we'll have rookies, and we'll have, obviously quarterbacks will stay with, and then we can have trades, because it sounds like that kind of happens internally anyways. But what do you think of an idea like that? Like, all right, well, Brianna's a up and coming, we're going to send her over to RCR for so-and-so.
Yeah, gosh. I have really never put any thought into that. But like you said, I mean, it does happen internally anyway. So I think with something like that requires like more money to be thrown in. And I don't know if teams or NASCAR are like actually ready for that. But the idea, I mean, makes it, I mean, I'm sure like the guy would probably eat that up and think it's just so fun, right? It just makes it seem like the NFL or something. I don't know. I'm gonna have to go think about that one.
I mean,
Write a pros and cons list.
technically it already happened with the whole Corey LaJoy and who is
Justin Haley.
Yeah, Justin
Yeah.
Haley. They made a trade mid-season. Like, what in the heck?
Yeah, no, that was weird, right? And then they literally used like the words trade. I was like, what is this?
Yeah, I don't think there's ever, that I recall ever, where they called it a trade. There's been obviously drivers in the middle of a season that have been let go and gone to other teams or whatever, but not the word traded was ever used.
Yeah.
That was just bizarre. But Brianna, what I was going to ask you, who is a role model for you in the sport of NASCAR, or I guess just in life?
Life.
Either I guess both. We'll do both, NASCAR and in life.
Okay. I would say, so in the beginning of my career, like, coming in through the D4D program, we had like a lot of like, we called them like the veterans that would come back to practice and obviously help us, and because they were there once. But then I think once we got out of that and then we went into like, I guess you could say like the real world of NASCAR. So then we were there now with other people and practicing with other people in the sport. There was a guy, Chris Taylor, and he was Martin Truex's front tire changer. He was one of the best and fastest tire changers ever. Like, was making the most money, just was like, had it like made in the sport. And he was like sought after by other teams. Like, he was just so good. And he was on his way, out the door. He was retiring. And so his family moved back home and he stayed put for the last season. And in his free time, he would come up to our practice. And he would just help us all. Like, because obviously he had loads of knowledge at this point, and he just came and like, he just spent his free time. He didn't have to do that. Like, he wasn't getting paid to be there, and he was getting nothing in return. And he just spent his days at practice with us and helped us. And at that point in time, like that just stuck out to me so much. And I still think about it all the time, even though he hasn't been in the sport now for 6-7 years. And I just think about like, how cool was that? He didn't have to do that. And I think what he passed on to us was just so like helpful to all of us, right? And now we get to then pass on that to the next generation coming up. And so I think in the sport, as far as like a tire changer, like he was it, because I was like, man, this man doesn't have to do this. Like he's grown, he's made it, he's on his way out of the sport, and he was just spending his time with us. And I just still think that's so cool. Like my gratitude for him is just he needs it all. It was just really cool. So for sure in the sport of NASCAR, you know, that's one that sticks out the most. In life, I'm going to go back to being cliche, but my mom, you know, I literally wouldn't be here without her. But then just to like the struggles that she went through when I was growing up, that, you know, you don't see when you're a kid, but when you get older, you see it. And I'm like, man, she like really fought through the nail for me to be where I am. And so that's just something I'll always be grateful for.
So that the way your mom fought and the way she raised you, I'm assuming that is what gives you your drive and, you know, how you want to succeed in your career path and like in sports and at college and that type of stuff.
Yeah, like she definitely gave me the courage to just go live life fearlessly. I think there was a point in time when I was like, I thought about joining the Army. I went to the recruiters, like took a practice ASVAB, and I was like, okay, I'm doing it. Because they were going to call me back in 2 days. I was like, Mom, I'm going to join the Army, whatever. She was like, okay. And I was like, are you scared? And she was like, you'll be all right. And so that's just the mentality that I've always carried. I'm like, no matter what I do, I'm going to be all right. So
that's awesome. That's a sign of a very strong woman. And it appears like, based on just our short conversation with you as well as a strong woman, especially in a sport that's dominated primarily by males, and you've had a lot of success and have done very well. I mean, like today I was doing research for the podcast, and there was a lot of videos about you and some other female pit crew members in the sport. Different, you know, you've been on different TV news stations, programs, etc. And that is absolutely awesome. I mean, that it's good to see. Our podcast, we sponsor a 14-year-old female that races out in California. She's actually going to be on the podcast tonight after you. And it's just really great to see. I mean, she just got her second career win this past Saturday. You know, and it's just good to see, you know, the diversity in the sport and everything, growing the sport. So, but yeah, I and people like you yourself are setting the path for others to do what you're doing, and that's an inspiration to not only females, but I think even to all of us. So I want to congratulate you on that, on your success and everything, and wish you continued success at what you're doing. And when you said it was a Chris Taylor, the tire changer,
Yep.
I think maybe, I don't know, obviously I don't know what he was thinking or why he was doing it, but people that are really good at what they do, and sometimes I think they want to pass that on to others to continue the legacy and make sure that craft doesn't die. It continues at a high level. And I'm guessing that's probably why he did that, other than being a high character person.
Right.
So, but yeah, no, that's really cool. I mean, that's the only way you can learn is if you learn from somebody that's been doing it for a while, and especially when it's one of the best. You know, you want to be like a sponge and watch and learn and soak up everything that they're doing. So that's really cool. So, and now you're sort of in a sense doing that at Rev Racing with the training of these newer drivers and pit crew members and stuff yourself. And what on a side note, I was going to ask you too, did you choose to become a tire changer, or is that the position that the team you went to said that they wanted you to do?
So that's what Coach Horton told me I was doing. Typically they go off size to put you in what position, and then you go from there. So like for me, I don't know how feasible it would be for me to be carrying around, 2 60-pound tires around the car as a carrier, jacking the car. I've tried it. It's tough. And then, putting a 100-pound gas can on my shoulder, it just makes sense for somebody my size to change tires. So they kind of go off of size when they make those decisions.
Okay. I assume that was the case, but I didn't know if they assign you or,
Yep.
Or if you get a choice or how it works. So.
But
Yeah, some people like to pick, and then they're like, no, this is what you're doing. But
yeah.
How excited are you to be able to sleep in your bed all week and have a home race?
So I love Charlotte weekend because of that, right? I get kind of like a long weekend because I'm not traveling Friday. I get to wake up in my bed every day, go right home. But this weekend, my cousin is getting married in Amarillo, Texas, and I'm the maid of honor. So my one weekend where I don't have to hop on a plane and travel, I still have to hop on a plane and travel. So there's that. Yep.
So you have to pit the trucks are off this week. So you'd pit the Xfinity race, and then you're going to have to fly out after, I'm assuming, for the wedding?
So I'm actually just taking this weekend off.
Taking the weekend off.
Yeah, because the wedding is Saturday. I was like,
Oh, okay.
man, if she could have just waited a few more weeks till season was over. But I was like, hey, it's not my wedding. I'll be there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'll be in Vegas in a couple weeks. That's closer.
I'll be there. So, right. Nope. I'm going to go whoop, whoop. And then, back to Vegas.
And I don't think we mentioned, but you pit in the Xfinity series for Young Motorsports.
Yep. So Leland Honeyman drives their 42 Xfinity car.
Okay. And then in the truck series, it's the 22 Romy Brothers truck. And I can't remember who drives that truck.
So we've had it. That one kind of is like their rotating truck.
Okay.
So like last weekend we had Jason White. Before that we had Frankie Muniz. I think we've had like 3 or 4 different drivers this season, but I know Frankie Muniz has been in it twice. I think this was Jason White's first race, and then, gosh, for the life of me, I can't remember who else drives it. But we'll have like a little rotation in that truck.
I think Frankie was at Daytona, right? I think it was Daytona. Maybe I'm wrong. So
I can't remember, but I think he's been in it twice.
Yeah, he's been in it a couple times.
I
remember that.
Now you're old enough to remember Malcolm in the Middle. Do you just still look at him and go, that's him?
No. Yeah, when I was just saying Frankie Muniz, I almost said Malcolm, and I'm like, that's so silly because that's not his name. And I'm like, let me not do that to him because he is not Malcolm. He is a race car driver. So I'm like, let me think about that one.
And it's so crazy because people think, all right, well, he's into money, and yeah, of course that helps. But he's been driving cars for a long, long time. Like even when he was on that show, he was driving with the GT3s and the Toyota Super Series back then. When it had like TV stars and stuff driving in the cars. He's been driving for a good decade before he hopped in an ARCA car.
Yeah, and I had no idea until he hopped in the ARCA car, and I was like, that's so random. And I was like, oh, I guess it's really not random. So good for him.
Yeah, you started saying that, and I really almost said, you mean Malcolm in the Middle? And I'm like, oh, yeah. It's just a habit. Like,
I know.
My little sister does not watch NASCAR. at all. But she knew who that was. She's
Yeah,
like,
you
hey,
got
that's
to.
Malcolm in the Middle, and I died. I'm like, that's Frankie.
Yeah, like there's no escaping it for him.
Right.
Do people
Yeah.
still call him that?
Not to his face, but you know, when he comes by, they're like, welcome.
I can imagine a spotter one day getting mad at him and say, Malcolm, I told you not to do that.
He'd be like, Spotter, I told you not to say that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
So I do have a question. What does the typical work week look like for you? Day in, day out, up to race day.
So for me, just like because I'm a strength and conditioning coach as well, I train my drivers Monday through Thursday. So I typically will work out before them, and then they get in at 8, and then I have them from like 8 to 10:30. So like Mondays and Thursdays. So Mondays, because we just came back from a weekend of traveling, I'll just work half a day. And then Tuesdays and Wednesdays, I'll train them, and then they'll do single lug practice at Rev Racing. I'll just like record stops and just kind of be there for support. And then I'll go practice 5 lug. And then Thursday, because then we're getting ready for the weekend, I'll work half a day as well. And then typically travel Friday, Saturday, and then try and enjoy my Sunday off. And then we're back to it.
Now, obviously, we're good friends with Brandon, and he is a springless socket guy. Do you prefer the spring or the non-spring socket?
I go no spring, and that's because when we started out, you know, we had springs. We were told, you know, that's where they were in there. They were part of it. But then once you get a couple stuck and messed up and you hit them wrong, you're like, all right, you got to go. So no spring for me.
So a spring is almost a thing of the past now.
Yeah, I don't know. I can't recall really seeing too many springs actually. Now that you've mentioned it.
story
Yeah.
time with Dave.
Story
He's
time with
got
Dave.
pretty much every tool you can think of.
Now, speaking of that, I did have it's more than a question, but I understand that a lot of, or prior to NASCAR giving you guys guns that were authorized by you, that, you know, a lot of technology went into these guns, and, you know, pretty much there were none available. That is the one thing that I am missing in my collection is a pit gun.
Really?
And I never see them available. You know, you would think being here in, you know, Concord, Kannapolis, Charlotte, that I would run across one, but you almost never see them retired. It's like, you know, you guys keep them for life. Like, that's your gun, you know, and it goes home with you, and, you know, that's
Yep.
where it'll stay.
Yeah, they're expensive.
And
really
we're
well.
all shocked because Dave actually is the substation for the Racing Warehouse.
As you can tell.
As you can tell behind him, he's got more sheet metal,
All
race
the
suits,
things.
tires. Yeah, he's got pretty much everything. So we are shocked that he doesn't have one of those.
Yeah.
I mean, he
cool.
was talking about getting the Sawzall that Justin Allgaier drove around the track.
Yeah, that was crazy.
But yeah, so I mean,
I'm just surprised that thing works.
yes.
Like, that's
No.
impressive.
Yeah. Well, what's your price? And see if we can get you one. What would you spend on one? Does it need to work?
The only one that I've ever seen was right around $800, and that was I think the guy said about 10 years old, but it had been rebuilt by Rand, you know, before it got put into retirement.
Yeah. Yeah, I
That-
think
that sounds
my
about
first
right.
one, yeah, my very first gun 8 years ago, I think I paid 700 for. And when
Yeah.
I was fresh in and not working a lot, I was like, man, $700.
So
Right.
the teams don't supply the guns and stuff. You have to buy them yourself, or was that when you just started, you bought your own.
When I started, I had bought my own, and then of course at that time, they weren't like regulated through NASCAR. So basically everybody would either get their own through their team, or like us who were just getting into the sport were buying their own. And typically we would just buy used ones from, there's a bunch of guys that rebuild them and will sell them. So
But yep, I'd like to hook that bad boy up to my air compressor in the back on a quiet Sunday morning, and just let them know that it's race day, right?
yeah,
Being in this area, you do see a lot of sweet things on Marketplace, and the old school tire changers, the ones where you pull the tire out, turn it, put it back on, and then hit it again. But the guns almost never become available.
yeah, it's so funny.
Dave, you work at a body shop or a shop. Why don't you just take one of those and use that?
The Snap-on ones do not have that sound. There is no muffler on the Rand guns. I guarantee you.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure you're right, Dave. I mean, the sound those things make are pretty distinct, and they're pretty freaking loud.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, that's what some of the pit guys had said that'd been on the show, that there was a very distinct noise that their gun makes, and they know when that lug's off, they know when that lug's on, when that lug's tight, and when they can zip around to the other corner.
Yep.
And I have people ask me all the time at work, are they torqued? And I'm like, I don't think that they're torqued, but they hear it so much that it's on there.
Yeah. Yeah, if you have a loose one or not. So we actually had a couple when Frankie was driving. It was after the first stop, and he was like, "Oh, I feel a vibration on the right front." And of course they all, the left front, and they all look at me from the top of the box, and I'm like, "Hey, those bad boys are tight, okay? I promise you, I know." So I don't know where the vibration was coming from, but when he came back and changed tires again, they were tight, like I said. So yeah, yeah.
So Brianna, I got a young lady that we're gonna bring in here. We're gonna let you talk to her for a few.
Alrighty.
All right, so we got Kylie Glick in here. How we doing, Kylie?
Hi, how are you guys doing tonight?
Doing good. All
Let
right,
me be the first to congratulate you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Congrats
I
on your second
appreciate
win.
it. Thank you, guys.
You're welcome. That's awesome, Kylie. Great job.
Well,
Dope.
appreciate it.
So Kylie, meet Brianna. Brianna, meet Kylie.
Hi, nice to meet you.
Yeah, you too.
She
You're
is
in
a tire
California?
changer and strength coach over at Rev Racing. So we wanted to get you guys together. If you had any questions for her, or she could give you some advice coming up through the sport.
Yeah, most definitely. That's so dope.
Yeah, dope is the word of the day. Yeah, especially if you're winning races. You're in California.
Yeah,
That's so fun. What do you drive?
I drive late models, and I started about a year ago. So,
You started driving a year ago?
yeah. Well, I've been in the racing world since 2021, so I've had like 3 years of experience now. But I just got into late models about a year ago.
That's huge.
Yeah,
To be winning races.
Yeah, we just got our second win in the late model this past weekend. But our goals are just to improve and just learning a lot more skill sets and like all the good stuff before going and winning a bunch of races.
Yeah, what's like the next goal, I guess? Like NASCAR or?
Yeah, definitely NASCAR. This next year, we're going to be focusing a lot on the Cars Tour Series on the West Coast. Yeah. It's definitely expanding a lot. So we're going to try to focus on that. And now that I just turned 14, I can actually race them. And so
Right.
yeah. So we're trying to hit all those big races and just run with all like the veterans and some of the best drivers on the West Coast and just learn from them and um, just expand my variety set or my skill set.
Yeah. No, that's so cool. That's like pit stops. So like the only way to get better is to run with people who are better than you. Because then
Yeah,
you kind of
exactly.
know where you stand with the people that where you're trying to be. So
Yeah.
that's so cool. Oh my gosh. I'm gonna be cheering you on now for the rest of your career. I'm gonna go
Thank
follow you on Instagram right now.
you.
So
Well, I
I
appreciate
train drivers. So I have like 2 ARCA drivers and 4 late model drivers. So
Yeah. I definitely
yeah.
follow the whole red racing journey and everything. And
Oh, do you?
yeah, definitely. We
Oh, nice.
yeah, that whole program is so amazing and everything that they do for their drivers, and they're definitely hands on and stuff. So that's super cool.
Yeah, that's a lot of fun. Don't mind my cracked screen, but
Oh
that's you, right?
yes,
Perfect.
So Kylie, you race for Nick Clower Motorsports, correct?
yes,
Yeah. So they actually have some ARCA drivers on their roster as well. So
yeah.
Oh,
It's kind of like the Rev Racing team and stuff, but it's like kind of more of the West Coast scene and what they do for like the West Coast drivers. I guess that's the best way I can explain it. They do
yeah.
like they do a variety of different types of cars from like the junior late models to the supers, the ARCA on the West Coast, the TA2 cars, a lot of those types of racing.
Yeah, all the cars.
Yeah.
That's so fun.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. When I saw the garage tour that you posted the other day and saw the old Jimmy Johnson car and the
Oh
Gordon
yeah.
car, I was my jaw dropped.
Yeah, a
Yeah.
little
Like,
bit.
oh yeah, these are going out on the Legends tour, and I'm like, am I that old? Where Jeff and Jimmy's cars are now on the veteran tour.
Yeah. Um, Mike Nake's business partner, Tom Clower, he buys a lot of those cars from Hendrick, and it's super cool to have him in our shop and stuff. So I got to help work on it, or at least watch and learn and all of everything. And the cars were super cool. I mean, they're like legit, like old NASCAR cars, and they go and run them at Sonoma Raceway and like a little series, like an old like NASCAR series, and you actually have to be like like the car had to be like actually raced in like a Xfinity class or like the Cup series to be able to like actually run the race. So that was sick. Unfortunately, though, it was this last weekend, so I didn't have time to go up there and watch because we were racing at Roseville. But it would have been super cool to go up there.
Am I that old, really?
Yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking
Like
too.
I'm 35 and I'm over here going, holy crap.
I'm older than all of you, and I'm going to be 54. So I remember when Jimmy Johnson was a rookie. Actually, even better, I remember when Jimmy Johnson was racing like the ASA Remax thing when he was racing out of a shop in Milwaukee here in Wisconsin.
Man.
So
I
that
don't
was
remember that.
You are old, Rob.
yeah, I am.
Jeez, Louise.
So yeah. So but either way, so Kylie, do you ever like when nobody's looking sneak over to one of those cars and hop in there and sitting there and think, hey, someday I'm going to be in one of these racing it on a NASCAR Xfinity or cup level?
So those cars were very new to the shop. Like those ones hadn't been in the shop, so I haven't been able to like. That was like one of like the first times they were in that shop because he keeps those cars like somewhere else, but they were just getting them prepped and everything for Sonoma, so they only brought those 2 cars over. So those were like the first time I actually got to see him like in person and like be able to like actually touch the cars. But unfortunately, no, I didn't get to sit in them, but I definitely got to observe and like see the whole dashboard and the seat and everything, and it's legit. I mean, the racing world, like the whole cars have even changed in like the past 20 years. Like that's insane. But yeah, I haven't gone to sit in one yet, soon, hopefully. But it's, yeah.
You keep bringing them crumble cookies, and that's going to distract them enough. You're going to be able to sneak over there and climb in one of them.
Yeah, we always got to treat my crew. They do an amazing job. So I was every Monday or whatever, whenever we go to the shop, I always bring them like a treat or like ice cream, or we brought cupcakes from Nothing Bundt Cakes and all the good stuff. And then, or like I'll make them brownies or something. But I definitely like to. We're always joking like we need to start like a boot camp up for them and like get them in shape from all the treats that we bring them.
Well, you can
Brianna
come
is,
to Rev
that's where-
anytime. And
I was
bring
just going to say,
some treats.
Brianna is
Come on.
your woman for that.
I know. Good to know.
I kind of do. So I try to keep all my drivers are kids, right? They're all young. And so sometimes they like hyper focus on like nutrition and they're like, oh, I'm only going to eat this, this, and this. So sometimes I have to like remind them the importance of balance. And so like on a Thursday, I'll bring in some donuts and I'm like, these are okay to have. We're not eating 20 of them. So it's okay to eat a donut. So I like that. I think something like that is just fun. Keeps morale up too.
Definitely, yeah. It always keeps them all happy and everything, and that's definitely the best. I mean, you don't want a mad crew at you, so I always keep them happy and everything. So
yeah, it's important.
Yeah.
Now, Brianna, that has been a new thing in the professional world of just sports, is what these athletes are putting in their body versus what it was even 10-15 years ago. There's Chad Johnson was just on a show, I think with Shannon Sharp the other day, and they were talking about how these players are getting hurt now because they're eating too properly. They're not getting the meats and stuff like that. They're taking more supplements. Now, obviously, with you being in the sport and then training people, kind of what you can do, what you can't do, where these other like nutritionists have never done, never played football. So they don't understand, good calories, bad calories. This is what you can do. This is what you can't do. Can you elaborate a little bit on that?
Yeah, so I have to remind them, I'm like, y'all are athletes, like pit crew drivers, like, so some of the pit crew are practicing twice a day, working out twice a day, like just sweating or just losing so much water. And I'm like, you have to fuel your body or you're not going to be able to perform at the top level. Like, I get it. You want to like look a certain way, but at the end of the day, like you are an athlete, like a professional athlete at that. And I just remind them like, you can't eat an all fruit diet, right? You got to go eat. Your body is begging you for these calories so you have energy to repair your body and then let your body move the way it needs to. So I'm like a big advocate on fueling your body for performance, because at the end of the day, that is our job and that's what's important. And so that's what I'm big on, fueling our body for what we need to do day in and day out.
So Brianna, I asked you this earlier, but now that Kylie's on, what advice would you give Kylie, being 14 years old and has aspirations to go into NASCAR and is in the racing field? What advice do you have for her?
Yeah, like I said earlier, I mean, it's just one of those things where you just work hard, right? If you're a good race car driver, like they can't take that away from you. And what can they say about you? Oh, she's a girl. Oh, she's won 2 races though. Like, like they can't take those wins away. They can't take away your work ethic. And like that's what you have at the end of the day. And so it's just, you have to just put your head down and like tunnel vision on your goals and not let anybody distract you from that. And then, I mean, I think you're obviously on the right path. The importance of the relationship with your team. You're winning races. You are at the shop, right? I think that's a big part of it too. Like your team's going to have your back if you have theirs. And if you're putting in the work, then they want to then work for you and make sure you have what you need to do your job.
Yeah, that's super good advice, and I'll definitely take that with me and everything. And I definitely agree with say like with the whole like if you treat your team well, they'll treat you good and give you a good car and everything, and they'll have your back. I definitely have experienced that. Like I've one of the best teams I think on the West Coast and in general. Like they're they're so amazing. Like I can't express how like they're like family. I mean, they always treat me so well, and like we're all jokingly like it's not like stuck up like oh I can't say that like they might like whatever, but we feel like they like are like my family. So
Ah, that's so great. I love that. Especially being a female, you never know sometimes. And I hate to say that, but sometimes it is what it is. But when you find someone who like has your back, like wow, that's when you just feel like the ceiling is there is no ceiling. So that's
yeah,
awesome.
yeah, they definitely
Cool.
don't want to just take our money and just give us a car. They're there for me, and like they'll definitely support all the drivers that have gone through their program, and even now like that they have advanced, they're on the bigger and better things now, and I think that's amazing. Like they're still supporting them, and they're still like one of their biggest fans. They're always like at the track, they're like, oh look at so and so is like doing this or they won this weekend, and they're always supporting, and it's super cute to see that. But
Good.
yeah.
So Kylie, do you have a question that you would like Brianna to answer for you about anything she's experienced in NASCAR so far?
I definitely think it's good that I've met her. I mean, she seems to be very cool, like big in like the racing world and big influence in helping drivers train and stuff. And so I definitely hope that I could train with her in the future.
Yeah. I'm in
Yeah.
North Carolina, so come find me when you make your way over here.
Oh yeah, soon. Hopefully we'll
Yeah.
be back in North Carolina. That's the
Perfect.
goal. But yeah,
Good.
if I'm ever back there, I'll definitely have to come train and meet you in person and stuff.
Yeah, do that. I love that.
Yeah,
If we're at the racetrack, Kylie, this next year, I'll make sure that Brianna comes over.
perfect.
Yeah, let's do it.
I always run into her. No, I did. I think every race that I've been to, I've ran into her. It almost was like dead smack into her every time.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's not on purpose either. It's just I come around the corner, you come around the corner, we're like,
I'm
oh
like,
hey.
Yep. Yeah.
But I know that you're extremely busy, so I don't want to hold you up too much more. Thank you for coming on the podcast with us, and we look forward to having you on again next year.
Yeah. I mean, I just want to say like I think like platforms like this are just like so great, and I'm just so thankful that y'all allow me to tell my story. I think that's most important, right? Just the representation. Y'all allow me to show. So thanks for having me.
No
You're
problem.
welcome. That's the whole purpose of our podcast. That like we came up with the Area 51 because it's like the unknown area, and everybody covers Cup and nobody covers pretty much anything below that, like
Yeah.
partners, crew members, grassroots racing,
Right.
whatever. So that's what we wanted to do, and hence. Plus, we're all Jeremy Clements fans, and obviously he's number 51. So,
Yep.
those two things went together, and that's how we came up with the name of the podcast. So, but yeah, we're 100% happy to share your story, Kylie's story. Ladies, you both are doing a great job and part of the sport. Brianna, obviously you're farther along and you're at the highest level, and Kylie, you're working your way up the ladder. So it was cool just to have both you on at the same time to talk to one another. And we're just glad to have the opportunity to have you on the show. So like Bobby said, we know you're really busy, Brianna, and we thank you for your time and appreciate everything you're doing, and good luck the rest of the season with your team. And when you see the Trackhouse guys like Cap and Jarek and was it Marshall McFadden?
Yep.
And those guys, tell them we all say hi.
I will. Those are my pals.
Tig
I'll let them
is
know.
also Tig. I can't forget about Tig.
Yep.
So
Yeah.
You can't forget
perfect.
about Tig at all.
Yeah, I can't forget about Tig. Tig is our guy.
Yeah,
So
he's a good guy.
so
I'll be sure to do that.
all right, sounds good.
All right. Well, thanks, guys.
You're
No problem.
welcome.
Thanks,
It
Bree.
was very nice
All
meeting you.
right.
Nice
Good
meeting you.
luck,
Thank you.
Kylie.
Nice to meet you. Bye.
You too. Bye, guys.
Bye.
Yeah.
Take care.
So now segment 2 and segment 4.
Well, segment 2,
Uh,
we could sort of say we just did that with Kylie and Brianna, I guess.
Yeah, we'll say okay. So that was segment 2 is brought to you by Spartan Waste, and that was with Kylie and Brianna. And now we are on segment 4. We're gonna split it up a little bit. This is gonna be segment 3 with Kylie for her race recap, and Rob will get segment 4. So Kylie, congrats on your win. Congrats. I mean, you're taking the world by storm right now.
Thank you. I really appreciate it. It means a lot. And especially to have you guys on the car with the win. Super good.
Yeah,
Second win with us on the car.
Oh yeah. It's a good season.
I am enjoying those the pictures and your interviews and stuff, and seeing that nice little decal on the corner above the exhaust. You know, kind of brings a smile to our face. So we definitely appreciate that.
Yeah, it seems to be bringing me good luck this season, so I really appreciate that. Thank you guys.
You're welcome. Thank you. You're the one that's doing all the hard work out on the track and your team. So we're the ones that are blessed to be on the car with you putting it in victory lane. So I think it's good luck for both of us, I guess. So,
yeah.
But yeah, I have Race Monitor, the app, and I was letting Bobby and Dave know what was going on, where you qualified P1 with the junior late model, and then obviously you won the race. There was like 2 laps left in the race, and it went like it was a yellow, and then all of a sudden you were like in 4th, I think it said. So what actually happened there, I guess? Let's just go over your junior late model race.
So on Friday we were fastest in practice and everything, and in the pros it was my first Cars Tour race ever. So, and Cars Tour is coming up on the West Coast, and it's a huge thing now, and I'm super excited to be a part of it. And next year it's going to expand by probably 2 times or double the tracks, and expanding all the way up to like Washington and Arizona and stuff. So I'm excited to see expand and be a part of it. And that's probably some of the most talented drivers on the West Coast in the late model series. So excited to be running with them. And it was my first ever weekend running with them, and we were running pretty good times. We were top 10 basically every practice session we went out in. So that was a great start. I mean, our goals for the Cars Tour series in that section was just to just have good qualifying. That was our main goal. We just wanted to qualify really good in the Cars Tour stuff, and we ended up qualifying P8. And then in the juniors, we qualified P1, and then starting the race, in the juniors, we led all 25 laps, and starting from the pole, which I wish I got to pass some cars, but it's okay. And then there was like a restart. They called it back because they didn't like the start. And on the restart there was an incident, but we're all good. And we started back on P1 because of the start and the scoring, just everything. So, and we had a restart with 2 laps to go, and I saved it, and we got P1 in the junior late models and won that. And so that was really good. And then we didn't get to go to victory lane on the front stretch and do an interview. We made a tough decision and decided to head right back to the pits and make some adjustments and everything to get ready for my first Cars Tour series race, and change tires and take out the pucks. And we had to do a lot of things because how the race was scheduled, Cars Tour was directly after my race. So we didn't have much time, and we decided just to skip the victory lane, which I feel like is a better option. I feel like we had a great car for the Cars Tour Series. So I'm glad that we made that tough decision. I mean, we did lose like an interview and all that stuff, but I think it was a better decision. And we got to go back and fix the car up. And it was great. I mean, my team fixed everything. We got the car tightened up and everything to adjust for the track temperature change and my visor and all that stuff. And this was my first time running 100 laps, and I was definitely nervous before, but I've been training for a while before this, and I knew that I had to prepare for this since I've only done 70 laps with a 10-minute break at lap 40, so I've never done 100 laps straight, and I was very nervous, but we had a lot different goals than a lot of the leaders and everything, and our goal was just to qualify good, pace with everybody, the whole field, and just nail some good lap times and make sure our line was like, just practice our line and things like that. Just like the simple things, and just get better at feedback and all that stuff. So our goals are definitely different this season. And I would just like to learn the car better and all the adjustments that I need to make and stuff. So that was our goals coming into the race. And so we finished, I'm pretty sure, 9th, top 10 in our first Cars Tour race. And about lap 45, we ended up losing brakes. And that's part of the learning thing. I'm learning how to just pace my equipment during the race and everything. And I haven't really had to learn how to do all that stuff with just the amount of time, like how many laps I have at a usual race. So it was really good to learn. And I'm glad that I get to learn this so soon. And it's better to learn now than later on in my racing career. So, and now that we know like the whole pacing, my equipment and learning and all that stuff, we'll be running the Cars Tour race in Vegas next week. And it'll be my first time at the Bull Ring in Vegas. So I'm very excited for that. And I can't wait to do 100 more laps and just experience that whole world. It's going to be a huge Cars Tour race. It'll be my first time at the Bull Ring. And Keelan Harvick and Kevin Harvick will be there. And a bunch of other NASCAR guys that are involved with the Cars Tour Series on the West Coast will be there. So excited to meet them and just get to see them. Keelan is going to be running a Legend, and Kevin will be running a Super. So I won't be able to race against them yet, but hopefully soon. But I'll definitely be able to meet them and do some social things probably with them and do that stuff. So.
Now, Kylie, we were talking while we were watching the scoring loops and all that stuff. Do you think that if your car hadn't ran the junior, that because you got to have time to let the car sit, and cool off, get, and yourself as well. You're straight tuckered out, but you were talking about the brake fade. Obviously changing out tires, changing out pucks, changing, we saw your new cool seat, that you and Dad made. But do you think that affected, like you could have pushed it a little bit harder for the Tours race than, did you change brake setups and all that during the just brief intermission you had? Or was it, you're not even getting out of the car for a potty break? Let's get some hydrates in you and get you back out there.
Yeah, it was a super quick break. Immediately when we pulled into the pits, everybody, we had the whole crew on our car, jacking the car up, changing tires, putting in new pucks, or taking out the pucks, sorry, fixing the car because we had a little bumper or fender issue, but they duct taped it and got it all good. And we didn't really have a lot of time to adjust anything. We took a little bump spring out of the back, and that was about it. I got out of the car for maybe 5 minutes, just take a little drink, get my back all, stretch my legs basically, and then I hopped right back in and got strapped up. And all the cars were already on the track when we were doing this. So, but they were doing open ceremony, so we had a little bit of time. They gave us a little breather because, like you said, the car needs time to breathe and cool down and everything. And so I'm going from 25 laps plus the cautions and all that stuff, and then going straight into a 100 lap main without a break. I mean, the car definitely needed a little break, but I think if once I know that, now that I know how to pace my equipment better and all the stuff that is needed for these long races, I feel like we definitely could have been better and probably finished at least in seventh or sixth. We had a fast car, like always. My team gives me a great car, so I'm excited to get back in the car at Vegas and try it all again and see what we could do.
Yeah, me and Rob were talking, that how similar the cars are going from junior, which you were running, last year and this year, and then you're going to graduate out of this car and into a full, pros tour car next year. How little the difference is between a junior and one step below truck series. Just the equipment is on point.
Yeah. Basically, I think the only difference is maybe the pucks and a few changes in like the setup, but basically it's the same. And I think that's a very good step. And with the whole like junior NASCAR program and just getting kids used to like the full size car, I think it's a good step into like the right direction and getting kids used to the full size cars and the speed and all that and starting them young in these cars. I feel like that's a good step, and I think in the future it'll be even better. So I'm glad that there's a whole junior thing and it's not too different from the pros, just a little speed, but that's about it. And I think it's good.
Because even when I was growing up, you had your super street category, which was a normal car, and then you had your pro late model, which was a full-blown race car, resembled nothing like a car, and that's what I kind of looked at when we first started talking was, all right, well, you're running a junior late model. I guess I didn't think in my head what the difference was, especially even when I went to Hickory Motor Speedway and I got to see the junior late models and the Cars Tour. I guess looking at them, just one was on the wall, one was on the infield. I guess I didn't look at them as being virtually the same car.
Yeah.
So it was very shocking when Rob was telling me that she just won the junior race, and we were super stoked. And then it was like 15 minutes later, he was like, "Yep, she's P8 or P10 and the Cars Tour." I'm going, did she even get out of a car, or did they have a car set up for her, or she just hopped in that one? And it was
that's the thing I didn't realize. I thought you had two cars, two different cars.
That's exactly what I thought too.
Because I'm thinking, how the hell did they? Because I know they're not the same. They would have had to change. I'm assuming the carburetors. It's a 2-barrel, 4-barrel. I'm guessing, or something along those lines. Maybe a spacer or whatever, and then that type of stuff that they change on them to meet the rules for the Cars Tour from the junior late models. And I'm like, this is crazy. Dave and I were both like talking about that, trying to figure it out. And so now it makes more sense that your team was able to do that changeover so quick to get you back out on the track.
That's a completely different skill set.
Absolutely.
You're going from a car from 400 horsepower to 600. Your entry's different, your section's different, your braking is different. That's two completely different disciplines in the same track in less than a half hour.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, you could definitely tell with the speed. Like, I'm going down the back straightaway in the junior. I'm like, okay, let's go. Like, where's the speed? Because usually we practice without the pucks and just like a pro. Because I mean, you might as well practice with like more speed than used to having like not as much speed. So we usually practice like it's a pro race and stuff. So in like the junior race, or even when I go out with like qualifying for juniors, I'm like, okay, like I'm pressing the gas down, like let's go. And it's like not going, and it's like you can definitely tell and stuff. But the entry point and like the gas and brakes and everything is very different, and you could go a lot harder in the juniors because you have a lot less power and stuff. So it's not. I feel like it could be difficult. I feel that you can definitely tell the difference though, and the whole braking and gas and everything is different. So that's the only thing that I could see between the two. But we definitely, technically, we do have 2 cars, and we could run to both of them, but it just makes it easier just to have 1 car and you just change the pucks and everything at the track. But yeah.
So
Hear my
I'm
dog
assuming you had brake
emotional
bias.
breakdown.
Say that again. Sorry.
Sorry, Dave, I talked over you.
No, you're all right. I was apologizing for Diamond. She's having an emotional breakdown in the living room and barking at everything that walks past the window.
Oh,
So
no.
if you can hear her in the background, I apologize.
That's okay. We
So-
love pets.
So Kylie, what I was asking is, do you have the brake bias? I'm assuming you do. For back, more brake to the rear, more to the front, whatever. The little dial.
Yeah, it's like right here at my hip, and I'm learning all that stuff because I'm learning a little bit more each race, and so we're onto that and making adjustments during the race because you could literally just, as you're going down the straightaway like full speed, you could just turn it and like it helps. But I'm just now getting used to like doing all like the switches and everything, so I'm slowly working to that part. But hopefully soon by like the next race, I'll be able to do that because it's just front brake and rear brake and things like that. But I
Yeah,
definitely,
because that can help with tightness and looseness and stuff,
Yeah.
like that while you're out on the track. But like you were saying with the difference between the horsepower, obviously you could go a lot deeper into the corner with your junior late model because the lower speed,
yeah,
whereas and plus your braking point is different compared to the pro late model with the higher speed and the your braking point and your angle of entry and all that type of stuff. So
yeah, definitely. I feel like the line is pretty simple. I guess it just depends on what track you're going to. I think the main thing for me is just braking and gassing. Like you go way harder into the turn with the brakes or the gas, sorry, and just hard brake it and then just rip it off the corner way faster. Because just like the speed, like you said, it's a lot slower than a pro, so you could be a little more aggressive with it.
Yeah, one thing you're gonna have to learn real quick, and I know you were excited to get into the car store, but we need that brake bias all the way up to those front tires so you can roast the hell out of the back tires,
Yeah.
on the next victory.
Definitely, yeah.
I don't know if the team will be happy about it, but it'll make for a nice smoke show.
Yeah, definitely. And speaking of that, we basically have the championship locked in for the juniors this year, and it's a very
Yeah, congratulations.
yeah. So
awesome. Congratulations.
technically, we just have to start the next junior, and then we should be able to get it. The only way that we wouldn't get it is if we didn't show up that weekend. So that's very exciting. We're not going to celebrate too early yet, but I think we have it locked in.
So the next interview, there'll be a bigger trophy on the table next to you.
Hopefully, yes, and a banner of some sort. So yeah, the All American Speedway it's so cool. They give you a big banner, and then they hang a big banner up with like all the champions of the series, like across like on the track wall. They have like a whole wall, and it's like all the championships for all the series. So hopefully I'll be up there next year, and then they'll give you one for like your shop or something. And they give you a big trophy, and then you go into the banquet. And I'm pretty sure that's when you get your trophies, at the banquet. So it might be a little bit, but I might get a first place one to add to the collection for now.
Heck yeah.
So I gotta ask, so how did it feel, your first victory to your second? Obviously, your first being your first, it's gonna be different, but how does it feel getting your second one?
Well, the second was like la-di-da. Let's just go
Yeah.
back to the pits. And
Yeah, and that's what we did kind of. We just went back to the pits and went straight for the pro race, but it was a
I'm
good
just gonna go out
celebration.
and win another one. No
Yeah.
big deal. I'll get to celebrate later.
yeah, that was the goal. But
Oh.
yeah, it's just it's a win, and it's a win. It's very memorable and rewarding and everything. But nothing can beat the first win. So
Yeah, we can't wait for that either. We're still waiting.
Yeah, hopefully we can try to we can do an interview with Kylie in person next year, or hopefully try.
Right.
yeah,
Well, if she
So I
definitely
would,
out to Charlotte, I will be there.
hopefully yes.
if you do race in Arizona, maybe, because my daughter
Okay.
lives there. So
Perfect.
we have to figure it out. So, but either way, I was gonna ask with now I forgot. That's just that's what happens when you're old. You forget things. I was gonna ask you about shoot. It was something to do with the bull ring next week. NASCAR is in Vegas, if I remember correctly. They're at the Roval this weekend, and next weekend they're in Vegas. So there's a good possibility Kyle Busch could even show up and race.
Yeah.
So I know he's been known to do that. So that I mean that's his home track. So maybe Brexton
Yeah.
race is I don't know if they run bandos there or not, but but either way, yeah, you're right. That's cool. There could be quite a few Cup guys and gals that could show up to race there, or Xfinity drivers for that matter. So, but yeah, that's awesome that you're gonna race at the bull ring. That's
Yeah,
a
it'll
historic
be a big thing. Yeah.
West Coast track, or western part of the United States track, I should say.
Yeah,
I'm
it'll be
gonna
sorry.
steal Dave's famous line. Do you have how do you thank or how did you say it, Dave? Go out and thank your sponsors.
Oh yeah, when do you have your sponsor cadence down yet? You gotta grab your Pepsi or whoever your drink is. I'd like to thank my team. Come on, you got to give us your best victory lane speech.
Yeah, so this is your opportunity to do your victory lane speech from the other night that you weren't able to do. So we'll let you do that right here. Now it's not going to be the same, but it's your chance.
Let's see if I can get it right. Okay, you guys
all right, let's go.
All right. I just wanted to thank all my sponsors like Caliber Collision, Palmer Signs, Area 51 Podcast, and Driven Sunglasses. I couldn't be there without them. I'd like to thank my parents and my team for giving me an amazing car, along with God for providing this and giving me a blessed life. I couldn't imagine without this. So thank you to everyone and all the fans who showed up tonight. And thank you guys.
Woo, go Kylie!
Thank you. I appreciate you guys doing that.
No problem. There you had
wonderful.
the opportunity to, now you got to do a celebratory what is it, like 3 days later, 4 days later, whatever it is.
Yeah.
I'm not good at math either, so
Go hop in your mom or dad's car and go do a burnout.
yeah, exactly.
That'd be so
thank Gerber Collision and whoever's gonna fix this mailbox.
You know what's going to be cool is when you go to do your driver's test, and the whoever gives you your test, you go strap in, put your helmet on. I'm a racer girl.
Yeah, it's gonna make great content for that.
Yeah, exactly. It's gonna be like that Jeff.
Yeah,
it's
you
gonna
need
be
a
like the
GoPro
Jeff
for sure.
Gordon video where he does the undercover test drive with the sales guy. That was one of the classic videos. That's funny.
Yeah, the joke is that I'm gonna get a minivan and put like student driver all over it and like kids in the car and things like that, and just get a messed up van and just drive that to the track as like my first car. They're like, "What's up, guys?"
Right.
And then I'm gonna go race this race car that's more expensive than this car. Yeah.
Oh,
As long as you have a vehicle to get you from point A to B, when you get your license, that's really all that matters. I mean,
Exactly.
and then when you get older, it's obviously going to be a lot cheaper for insurance and stuff. So when you get older, then you can get a nice car.
Yeah.
But then when you get in your 50s and get a Dodge Charger Daytona 392 and you decide to go do a burnout with your buddy and then roll your car and total it. So don't do that, because I may or may not have done that like 2 years ago. So
Good to know.
yeah, so don't do that.
Yeah,
So
learn
don't-
from experience.
Yeah, don't
Yeah.
do burnout lessons with Rob.
Yeah,
that's-
don't. You have
was, believe me, I did. So my burnout that I did that night was, would have took care of both your burnouts for your both first 2 wins.
so
Yeah, it was. Yeah,
you have story time with Dave. You got burnout with Rob. Thank God I
story
don't
time
have
with Rob.
one.
Yeah.
So
So
with that being said, if you guys are interested in purchasing any of Kylie Glick Racing merchandise, please go to Kylie Glick Racing Facebook page and click on the link in her new merchandise post. And you guys got to get your Glick Racing hats.
Oh yeah. And all the new merch and hoodies and shirts and all that stuff. We got the red car finally up on the merch website.
you have pretty much the most diverse merchandise available that I've seen. I mean, you've got like, I think there was yoga pants type purses,
Yeah.
I mean, stickers, sweatshirts, hood, t-shirts, hats. I mean,
We're
everything.
just missing shoes.
yeah, I mean, yeah. So
Yeah, you could definitely tell you're on the West Coast because none of the models look like me.
they definitely don't look like me.
Yeah, I think they're all AI generated. There's like one of my photo, and then the rest are just whatever the website decided.
So
Is there anything else that you want to let everybody know, Kylie, or anything that you can think of?
I think that's it. I'm excited to hop on and talk about the Cars Tour race next week or the week after, whenever we're back. And
Absolutely.
yeah, that'll be a big one. So yeah,
so we'll be talking about another W, hopefully,
most likely. I don't know.
making another space for that trophy counter there.
Hopefully, yeah.
That would be
Right.
awesome.
Well,
This
we are
next
more
week-
than excited for you, and cheering you on. We can't wait to officially, have you on as the champion, Kylie Glick.
I appreciate it, and hopefully soon by the next Roseville race. So in the next month, hopefully.
Yeah, we're gonna have to update our intro video then.
Yes.
We're gonna have to add like the champion photo and banner and like Kylie Glick, junior late model track champion. Was it all American Speedway?
Yeah.
We're gonna have to update our. I mean,
She's got to do a burnout. We got to have the burnout
Yeah, we-
video.
yeah. So
We'll all work
maybe
on
maybe borrow like an old minivan or something and just go out and do a burnout or something. Actually, no, don't do that because we don't want to get you in
Don't give
trouble
her
with
ideas.
your mom and dad, and then we'd be in trouble too. So we don't want to be a bad influence. We want to be a good influence.
Yeah, I'll just go out there with my team, take some of the crew guys, and have them teach me
There you go.
a day at the shop. Yeah.
When you get them
Okay.
all jacked up on all the sugar from the cookies and stuff,
Exactly.
that's when you do it.
I'll
So
bring 'em
they're going to be a little
from-
vulnerable and crazy.
Yeah. I'm like, well, I brought you cookies, so you have to teach me now.
Donuts,
I
donuts
like
for
it.
donuts. That's what we'll
Yeah.
call it.
There you go. Donuts for donuts. Exactly. Dave, you got it.
So
I mean-
Kylie, we appreciate you having you on this week. We'll see you in a
Thank
couple
you.
weeks.
Yeah.
And good luck.
Yes.
And then good luck going out and getting that championship.
I appreciate it. See you guys soon.
All right, see ya.
Yep. Thanks, Kylie. Congrats
Thank
again
you
and
guys.
good luck.
Thanks, Kylie.
See you soon. Bye.
See ya. Take care.
All right. Well, that is segment 3 with Kylie for her race recap. How exciting is that? That she's gonna be a champion, hopefully.
That's
Yeah.
really cool. I mean, did you like Brianna's reaction when she said,
Yeah.
"I've only been racing a junior late model for about a year,"
She
and
went.
she go, and you've won 2 races already? I mean, that was basically our reaction too. It's like,
Right.
she obviously is a very talented young lady, and you know, she's got a very bright future ahead of her. So
I'm so glad that we're partnered with her.
I am as well. She's just a great kid in general. You know, especially being on a podcast with the 3 of us, and being able to joke around and stuff. Even though we probably gave her some bad ideas, but you know, as in a joking manner, I don't think she's going out to do donuts or anything, but either way.
So segment 4 is brought to you by Lions Driveway Solutions. Rob?
Segment 4 is going to be the race recap for Jeremy Clements Racing at Talladega Super Speedway. The bad luck and stuff unfortunately continued for Jeremy Clements Racing this week. Again, there was no practice at Talladega. He ended up qualifying P28. He said his car a little loose off, hard to get on the gas. He started stage 1 P26 because 2 cars ahead of him had to go to the rear. During that stage, he said his car's not driving bad. It's still just a little loose and then a little tight. His biggest complaint was he just had no speed in the car, and they couldn't figure out why. During the first stage, the door pad on the padding on the door next to his left arm came loose and started smacking him in the arm when the wind was blowing through the net, and it was you know, irritating him and distracting him. During a pit stop, they tried to tape it. Mark didn't want to take the window net down because I think if they take the window net down, once it's down, they may have to be out of the race. I could be wrong, but either way. So they taped it, did whatever they needed to do to secure it. Jeremy ended up was the highest position in stage 1 was P16, and he ended up finishing P19 in stage 1. Stage 2, he started P18. He basically said that he was going to hang back to avoid the big one because there was a lot of stupid pushing, shoving, driving. So he stayed back and finished P20. And then stage 3 came. They pit to fix the door pad again, took fuel and tires, and then they came back down again to pit road to top off with fuel, and they restarted P30. On lap 60 of stage 3, Jeremy came on the radio and said, "Something hit me in the leg." Mark Setzer, his crew chief, asked Jeremy if it was the drive shaft and got no answer. Mark then asked Jeremy, "Are you okay?" Again, there was no answer from Jeremy. Ultimately, Jeremy came into his pits and Mark was yelling to the crew on the radio to push the car behind the wall. We need to get the car behind the wall to help Jeremy. And there was a lot of urgency in Mark's voice. Jeremy's dad, Tony Clements, you never hear him on the radio, or very, you know, sparsely hear him on the radio. He actually got on the radio and was yelling to get the steering wheel off. And then shortly after that, one of the crew members came on the radio and said, what hit Jeremy was brake rotor. And then there was like silence, and then no radio traffic, nothing. And my stomach just sank because I'm thinking, oh no. You know, Jeremy, when he raced dirt cars, he had that drive shaft incident where it went through and it almost ripped off his hand, and he almost ended his career. And I'm thinking, oh no, what happened, you know, to him? So, the Bobby, I started reaching out to some of the partners that I knew were at the race. I know Bobby did the same. You know, Dave, we were sharing that information. You know about it in our group chat. And ultimately, Bobby and I, about the same time, heard back from two of Jeremy's partners. I heard back from one that just said Jeremy was going to be okay, but he's sore. He was being taken to the care center to be evaluated for a foot and lower right leg injury. Bobby basically got the same information, or Bobby got a little more of that. At some point, the left front rotor exploded. A piece of it came off. The right rear tire ran over it, and it flung it back in to the car through the sheet metal. And it ultimately ended up hitting Jeremy in the right foot lower leg area on his right leg, injuring him. And if you saw, I think it was yesterday, Jeremy actually posted some pictures on, I think Jeremy Clements Racing. I think it was on either Facebook and or Twitter. But if you look, there actually is, it looks like two separate spots where pieces of the brake rotor came in through the car. One was at the right rear, and the other one looks like possibly the flooring area, maybe by the drive shaft area. It went through the sheet metal, and it's just tore apart. That takes a hell of a lot of force to get that to happen. And then the thing that I don't understand is right after that happened, Kyle Weatherman was right behind Jeremy, or in the area of Jeremy, and he radios his spotter and says, a huge piece of the track just came up and hit my windshield.
That was actually Ryan Ellis. Ryan Ellis posted pictures on Instagram.
Well, was it Ryan
Twitter.
Ellis? Well, Kyle Weatherman also said that.
Okay, so if you actually
now we
look
have two
on,
drivers.
If you look on Ryan Ellis's page,
I'll have to do that.
That thing is about that wide across his windshield.
Wow.
Yeah.
So I didn't know about. I follow Ryan, and
so that right there, you know, and these things are, I would say, probably about 25 to 30 pounds, and you got to imagine that it's going 200 miles an hour, and it slingshots through your car. That is some shit.
Holy
There's
cow!
Ryan Ellis's picture.
Yeah, I didn't see that. I follow Ryan and his PR person Sarah Handy all the time, and I didn't see Ryan's. I saw Kyle Weatherman's right away, and I responded to him that it was actually the brake rotor from Jeremy's car.
Yeah, the one where it was laying out on the concrete. That was nuts.
Yeah, and no yellow flag. So NASCAR obviously is scanning these teams. The officials are scanning these teams' radio traffic. You got a guy that just came on and is now not responding, that he said he was hit with something. You got another driver saying he thought a big piece of track hit his windshield. And now Ryan Ellis has damage to his windshield. And there was no yellow flag at all. And they had to push Jeremy's car from his pits behind the wall to get him out of the car. And there's still no yellow flag, which I don't understand. And then there's no coverage of it on the CW's broadcast. They had like zero clue that anything happened. And it was like, now I'm freaking out. I mean, the only good thing is sometimes they'll if something serious happens, they'll fly a helicopter in to evacuate to a hospital or whatever, and sometimes they'll stop the race for that or whatever. So I'm like, okay, that's a good sign that they didn't have to do that. So that stuff's running through your head before you get information back. I mean, that's one of the, I guess, nice things and benefits of us doing this podcast and knowing enough people that are affiliated with Jeremy Clements Racing and stuff to be able to find out that information and then, share it, with his fans to let him know that he's okay. I mean, I had people messaging me, asking me if I knew what was going on. And I was like sharing that I didn't. I just told them what I had heard on the scanner. And so I don't know. I that rotor piece just doesn't come off the track either. So what happened to it? It's a whole big thing. I don't understand how that whole thing didn't end up being a yellow flag.
Yeah, and what was it? 2-3 laps later, we had a cut tire that brought out the caution that wiped out. It wasn't a cup style accident, but where it cleared out 29 cars, but I think it cleared out what, second through, I think it was ninth.
Yeah, ninth or 10th. I was going to say it was the top several cars.
Right.
But either way, Jeremy, he posted with his post that he thanked everybody for his support, his partners. It's been an up and down year. Unfortunately, he got a DNF. He finished the race. Can't remember what it was. I think it was P30, and I think he was like 32 laps down or something like that. But either way, he got a DNF, unfortunately. Most important thing is he's okay. He's going to be able to recover, and from what it sounds like, I'm sure he's pretty sore, but thank God he's okay. The other thing with the race ended up being a green-white checker finish, and junior motorsports driver of the number 8 car, Sammy Smith, ended up getting his first win of the year and going from the very last driver for the playoff, this round of the playoffs, below the cut line, to being locked into the next round of the playoffs by getting the win. So, and then the other big deal post race, the number 1 car, Sam Mayer for Junior Motorsports, ended up just getting disqualified for his rear ride heights being too low. The Junior Motorsports is appealing it. They have an appeals hearing tomorrow, so it'll be interesting to see how that goes. I'm trying to figure out how rear ride heights get lowered after inspection with the laser machine or whatever they call that thing they go into. I'm trying to think of how a team could manipulate the car that much to get it to go below the ride heights, because your shocks are a certain length and they can only go a certain, to a certain low level. So I be interesting to find out exactly what happened and how it happened and that type of stuff. So, but either way, this week, Jeremy and the Xfinity Series is going to be racing at the Charlotte Roval. And today on social media, Kevin Whitaker Chevrolet, Jeremy Clements Racing ended up revealing their livery for the race. And I know when we had Ryan Whitaker on the show podcast earlier this year, he was trying to figure out what livery throwback they were going to do this year. And then they decided to do Dale's 2008 number 88 Amp Energy, the green and white livery throwback for the Roval race. And a cool story, I don't know if you guys saw it or not, but Dale Jr. actually responded to the post and said, Jeremy also has fun with these posts or these liveries, throwback liveries. It's really cool that he was doing that. And Dale said that if the number 88 was not available in 2008, he actually was going to use the number 51. So as his number. So I was like, oh, that's just a cool story in and of itself. So I'm thinking, like the stories where Ray said, Steven said, Jeremy, when he won at the Wawa 250 and the number 51 and all the the things that lined up there involving the number 51, that maybe Jeremy will have a good luck because that car number it was possibly going to have a number 51 on it, and with that livery, and maybe it'll bring him good luck and at the Roval, maybe get him a win or whatever. So either way, I continue to hope and pray for all those affected by Hurricane Helene. The more we see of videos of the devastation and stuff, and especially in North Carolina, South Carolina, East Tennessee, the mountain areas, it makes your stomach, sick to your stomach. But at the same time, it's great to see how everybody has come together as Americans in that area to help one another. The NASCAR community, Greg Biffle the guy is unbelievable. The amount of stuff that he's been able to get donated. And I mean, today, chainsaws from Husqvarna, I think it was, chainsaw, oil, bar oil, all kinds of clothing, you name it. I mean, it just unbelievable. So continued prayers for all those people. I hope they continue to get the help they need. Dave, obviously you live down in that area and you're close to that area. And it's just, my heart goes out to all those people. And then now we got this Hurricane Milton coming that's going to hit Florida, just as bad of a hurricane. So I hope and pray for all those people in the line of that storm too.
I actually saw a post on TikTok, and everybody that's in the South knows what I'm talking about. They have officially closed 7 Waffle Houses in the Tampa Bay area. So if you know what a Waffle House is, they do not close, just at all.
Shit's getting real.
Shit is getting real.
Getting real.
Or you need to go to church or get the fuck out of here. So, that is your sign that, it's about ready to get real. So, obviously praying for, my neighbors here in North Carolina and Eastern Tennessee. And, I hope everybody can get coverage and is ready and is taking the warnings in Florida to fullest effect, to batten the hatches down. And, unlike us, we had little to no time to prepare for this hurricane and what it was going to do. Florida has had some time, but I understand that most of the interstates getting out of Florida are congestion right now, and actually getting fuel down there is getting to be harder and harder. So just prayers go out to them, and let's see how we bond together as Americans yet again to get this stuff cleaned up.
That is absolutely for sure, Dave. I mean, it is just heartbreaking, the amount of devastation. Like I said, it just at one point, it makes you sick to your stomach, but at the same point, there's so many good things that are coming out of this, like humanitarian wise, by people helping one another.
Yep,
that
the unity down here has
Right.
really opened up everybody's eyes. Some people are saying these were sundown states and cities, and that's not the truth down here. We look out for each other, and we'll give you your shirt off your back. But just don't come down here thinking that I'm not. I'll quote the same thing that I was telling Rob earlier. You come down, help, do everything you want to do, but as soon as you start thinking that you're a little better than your neighbor, that's when things go completely sideways. So as long as everybody gets together and is on the same page, I believe we'll be just fine down here. Now that we have most of the things into effect, now let's go to Florida and see, if this is anything like Hurricane Andrew was back in the day. If you're old enough to remember that, and just pray for everybody down there.
Yeah,
So-
it's crazy.
I want to let everybody know that I'm thinking of everybody in Collier County right now. I'm hoping that the hurricane, I know it's going to be bad, but I'm hoping it doesn't go south. Adrian's parents have a place down there, and all the families and whatnot that are down there. I hope that the dream ideal situation is that that thing dies off real quick, fast, and in a hurry, and doesn't hit anything. It goes right under Florida. But obviously, I don't think that's gonna happen. I think Tampa and Sarasota is gonna get smoked. So my thoughts, prayers are out to everybody out there, and my aunt and uncle that are down in St. Pete's. I'm hoping that they got out of there. I haven't been able to get a hold of them. I'm hoping. But with that being said, Area 51 Racing Podcast is thinking about everybody down in Florida right now and everybody in North Carolina, South Carolina, Tennessee. You guys, we hope that everybody gets back on their feet soon. And I'd like to remind everybody to please go to stickygears.com and purchase one of the Area 51 Racing podcast shirts for $15. A portion of that money goes to Jeremy Clements Racing to keep Jeremy on the track. Also, Anna Moore Designs, such as the tumblers that we have here. The stickers that she made. I don't have any of the big ones, or I could show you guys. The flags like Rob has, the little stickers. We got this. They're about the size of this one. But if you're looking for hats, beanies, planners, there you go. Rob say something so they can see it.
This is the bigger sticker that Anna made for us that we have for sale.
Anna has binders or planners. She's got flags, garden flags, big flags, whatever. When it comes to the racing stuff, Gale Beard Products. Want to give them a shout out. Thinking about you guys down there. I know that they haven't had power. So if you go to their website and order something, go to checkout and click on the discount code and type in Area 51. You'll get 15% off the order and free shipping. Remember, guys, make them say it. Golly.
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 So check out the Racing Warehouse. They have all sorts of sheet metal for sale. Don't forget Armadillo Apparel for the hats, shirts, die cast, anything racing memorabilia that you're looking for. I'd like to give a shout out to all of our sponsors who make this podcast possible. Spartan Waste, Spartan, Fox Sports Spartanburg, Impel Union, Alliance Driveway Solutions, First Pacific Funding, Elite Towing and Recovery, Whitetail Smokeless, Fly Inform Concrete Structures, Runner's Roost, Matman Designs, Action RV, Booze Pops, Nordic Logistics, Wings Etc., Anamore Designs, Gale, SureFit Companies, High Speed Auto, Kylie Glicker Racing, and Enigma Tattoo Studios, Jeremy Clements Racing, and Jeremy Clements. I want to thank everybody that makes, especially our fans who make this podcast possible.
And Chad, our hearts are with you. You know, Chad at Madman Designs, super awesome guy. Lost family member, and you know, just want to let you guys know, you know, that you're in our hearts.
Yeah, thoughts and prayers, brother. Love you, man. Sorry for your loss. So
Yeah, Chad's been talking to me. He kind of helped me through everything with Dad, and then I got that message today. It's been a month since Dad's been gone, and then Chad told me that his dad passed away, and he sent me a text today, and I'll read you guys the text real quick if I can pull it up. It says, "We're both gonna make our dads proud. Thank you for everything." And I said, "Thank you for everything that you did, and we'll definitely make our dads proud." So I'm gonna make this episode in memory of Chad's father, and I want to say, if you guys need anything, please reach out to any of us. And we love you, Chad. With that being said, I don't have the Booze Pop intro is not, or extra is not working tonight, and we're actually getting heavy winds right now, and my battery backup just came on. So, with that being said, I'm gonna hop out of here. I appreciate you guys very much for everything. So, episode 42 will be on next Tuesday, 8 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Central. And we got another special guest for you guys. We'll see you guys next week.
All right, y'all have a great night. We'll see you later.
take care and everybody be safe, especially in Florida. Continue prayers for everybody affected by Helene and then obviously Milton hurricane.